Now today's topic, I'm going to talk on allergies. And I think I solved this puzzle of allergies, and that's why I know this is a perfect timing. This is March and a lot of people are afraid of getting out because they're allergic to pollens. And this is the best season of using, but a lot of us cannot enjoy it. They have to wear the mask, they have to keep them inside because they get congested, they have runny, itchy eyes, runny nose, coughing, and this happens every year. And somehow it's very common in Houston. When I came to US, we were in Chicago initially, then we moved to Green Bay, Wisconsin, then in New York. But I don't think I have seen that many cases of, not that I was practicing back then, but say if you are a hairstylist, you're looking at people's haircut. If you're a dressmaker, you're looking at the fashions. If you're a shoemaker, you're looking at the shoes. So I'm a Ayurvedic practitioner. I'm looking at the problems people have. So I don't remember seeing that many people with allergies up north. And I was thinking, why it is so common here? You must know few people around you that struggle with this spring allergy every year. And it gets worse and worse. I think this is just my hypothesis. It may be because of the oaks. We have a lot of oaks in the southern part of the country, and this oak pollen are the worst for probably some of us. Now, not everybody gets allergy, only few of us. And I'm going to show you the logic. What is in them that is attracting these allergic symptoms? Is there something inside me? If it is pollen, then it should be true for each one of us. That's not the reality. Only some of us get it. So what is the characteristic or what are the criteria for those folks to have the allergies? Now in Vedic tradition, which is what Ayurveda is about, the way they taught it, they give you the answer first. What should you do for allergy first? And then go back and explain how do I come to this conclusion of what should be done for allergies. So I'm going to write it from the right hand side of the board, the answer to allergy. Or the treatment. I don't want to call treatment, that's why I'm saying answer. There are only 5 things. First is to protect nose and eyes. Second, eat 80% of your meal. That means eat 20% less. Extra fluid in the form of teas or hot water. And some herbs if required. Only 4 steps. Now for me to explain why we need to do these 4 steps, I have to explain 2 things of Ayurveda. So those of you who do not know much about Ayurveda, will have to just bear with me as I go through this and bring it to that point so it makes a connection. Now, the folks who are susceptible, come on in. So the people who are susceptible for allergies are the people who I believe have fluid compromised situation inside. That's number 1. They do not drink enough water. And the second thing is they have weak Agni. Now what is allergy? Why only, let's say I have allergy, why only I have to suffer? Because I cannot handle that pollen. There's nothing wrong with the pollen. There are a lot of people who are handling it perfectly. So there is something inside me makes my body behave in such a way that I take it as an enemy and I create this whole response to battle with it. Right? This ability to process certain things, in Ayurveda we call it as Agni. This is the fire principle. Processing is the function of fire. Cooking, because of the fire. This is cooking. I'm exposed to these pollens and my body thinks that I cannot process it. I don't know what is this. I don't know how to handle this. And it creates this severe response. runny nose and itchy eyes and congestion, all those things. Because my Agni is weak. My fire is weak. Now the exposure point is in the eyes and in the nose. That's where the pollens get attached. Right? If you look at that area, we consider it as a kapha. The fluid in our body, we call it kapha. So first point was fluid deficiency. I have low fluid. And that fluid we call it kapha. So this fluid in the human body is called as kapha. Where do we process this fluid is something that we need to understand, and that's why you have to bear with me a little bit. Ayurveda says that we eat the food and then we process it with the Agni and we create something called as rasa, which is the first tissue, plasma. Agni at this level is weak. Because from plasma comes out fluid or kapha. So I eat the food, I process it, I create plasma. That plasma gets processed and then I get kapha. This is the sequence in a normal human physiology. Now, I'm a person who does not have allergy. So I can say safely that this Agni, this fire at this level is strong. It has nothing to do with this fire. This is the one in the gut. Because I'm digesting the food here first, then it goes to the next step to become a plasma. This is just losing this translation. It's not plasma. That's why I said rasa. So this and this is same. There is another fire at that level which will work on that processed food and will make kapha. So if fire at this level is weak, low, then it's known that we create more fluid. And the best example that I always use, each time you have more end product, fire has to be low. If I'm cooking a rice, let's say half cup of rice with a cup of water and I need, let's say, half an hour to cook the rice, normal circumstances, I get a nice cooked rice at the end of half an hour. Let's say I have rice, I have water, but my fire is so weak and I have half an hour. At the end of half an hour, will I get cooked rice? If my fire is so weak, I will have watery, uncooked, more quantity rice. Right? So quantity is more and quality is bad. Each time fire is weak, that's what happens. Quantity is more and quality is bad. Quantity more, quality bad. Each time fire is weak, this is the result. Now, if I have been exposed to pollens, and if my Agni is strong enough, and I have enough fluid on board, my body will flush it out. We all are washing it out because nobody needs that pollen. I don't need pollen to stay alive. So my immune system is working perfectly fine. I'm having enough kapha, good quality kapha because my Agni is good. And it's flushed, removed, gone. I don't have to worry about it. Body does it automatically. But for somebody whose this Agni is weak, he will have more kapha, but it's not doing its job. It's not efficient in removing those pollens. So body asks for more fluid of good quality. There is not enough fluid to begin with. So already there is a shortage. On top of it there is more demand, so it doesn't match. So pollens cannot be removed. And my body takes it as a foreign material, as a bigger, severe thing, and then I will have congestion. How does congestion happen? When I have more fluid on board. Imagine a sponge soaked with water. Body is trying to wash out those pollen, wash out those pollen, wash out the more kapha, more fluid, more goes out, and there is no fluid on board. So it has to squeeze hard to get more fluid out of it. That's how congestion happens eventually. So the first step is to supply enough fluid. Now protection is important because the pollen are going in through the eyes and nose. Until we achieve a good fire at Rasa Dhatu level, you have to protect yourself, because pollens are coming in and you do not have a good ability to fight with it. So we have to maybe wear glasses, cover your nose for good season, maybe season or two, until you build up this Agni, that fire principle. But the quick response, quick thing that one can do is have more fluid, not cold water. A lot of the time people ask me, can I drink juice? Can I drink this instead of that? Carbonated beverages, sparkling water. There are a lot of other options nowadays. But you tell me, if I'm trying to wash, let's say a dish, can I wash it in juice? If it is a basic dish. Body is trying to wash off. So we need water. So water is the only answer, and that water has to be in the form of warm teas, so your body is not spending more fire to digest that. It's pre-digested. So it's readily available for you to flush it out. Yes?
But don't you have too much fluid? Because kapha is fluid.
Yeah, but why? But that's not of a good quality. This is a bad quality. You have more fluid, but it's not useful. Body cannot use it. So if you want to bypass that, you want to bypass this whole process, you have to drink hot water or flavored tea water. So you are not putting pressure on this Agni and immediately having the fluid available to wash off the pollen. Then we'll come back and we have to correct it. Yes, that's where it all started. But for now, as a temporary fix, as a band-aid, instead of taking clarity, drink tea. To get to this phase, it takes 5 days. For my body to create kapha out of the food I ate takes 5 days. So minimum 5 days are required to be able to see the result. Don't expect I started drinking teas today and tomorrow, how come I'm still congested? 5 days. So you have to stick to that regimen 5 days. There is no harm in doing this. And it works. So try it. Another thing I said, eat less food. So you have more Agni, more fire. You have more, because this Agni is very good. These folks who have allergies have a good appetite. Nothing wrong with their appetite. But the next step is compromised. So it's hard for them to stop. And you have to stop before you're too full. That's a little tricky, going to be a little difficult. So if you maybe have a cup of tea before you eat, would be a good idea. So you won't eat too much. So you have to just play with that somehow. But this is must. You have to cut down on the amount of food that you eat, so you do not create more kapha. More food will be adding more kapha. And then if you save this fire, it will eventually make this fire strong too. It will have that impact, have that effect, because it's a linear process. Right? So we are done with that, we are done with that, we are done with that. Now how to protect the eyes and the nose? Yes, we can wear the mask, you can wear the glasses. Ayurvedic idea is to put the oil. So you create a mechanical barrier. Put the oil that is helpful for that particular condition. Now if you look at the nature, nature takes care of the pollen by creating seed. That is the next step. Right? The flower has to die for the seed to come out. So this is a natural process. Seed is the answer to pollen. That is the next step. So we have to use some kind of seed in the form of oil so we can take care of that problem. And that seed has to be against kapha, opposite kapha, because in Ayurveda we use opposite qualities to balance. So what is the best seed that is against kapha is something called as pipali. We use it a lot here. That is the herb that can be used. Or the oils that are cured with kapha against qualities to put in the nose and in the eyes. So you create a mechanical barrier. So I have cured this turmeric oil. Turmeric also is against kapha. This is turmeric ghee, and we are asking you So you're going to put 3 drops of this turmeric ghee in the nostril every evening. And before going to bed, you're going to put a drop of castor oil in each eye. This will give a protection, and at the same time, it will teach you how to fight with this. You may have to do this for an entire season. Now, how we do the people is, the herbs are done in a different fashion in Ayurveda. So we have to work on each individual to do it in a different fashion. But these are just some tips of how we can fight with what is the problem. On one side, avoid it. On the other side, improve your strength so you don't go through that same cycle each year. And this is simple enough. If you don't have the herbs, you don't have to depend on the herbs. At least start drinking water, start eating less, and see if your severity of the allergies goes down. And there is no reason why it should not, because this is just pinpointing. There is no harm in doing this, and I think this would really work. So all you need to know is drink more fluid, that is hot, have extra fluid on board, so when the body wants it, you can get it. We don't carry extra tank. In emergency situation, I can just get it from there, right? Just imagine, like Flint, Michigan, these people are struggling with water. Let's say if I take 8 gallons of water to take a shower, I don't know how, I'm just guessing, okay? 8 gallons of water I usually use when I take a shower. But my shower is not working today. Somebody gives me 8 gallons, use this much, because that's what you usually use. I have water, but knowing that I have only 8 gallons changes the way I take my shower. Don't you think so? Mm-hmm. That's exactly what happens with the body too. It has extra kapha, but that is not of good quality. And then there is no fluid on board. So your body goes in that mode of emergency. That shift happens inside. Because that's the memory for the body that this person is not drinking enough water. Person who has weak this agni and strong this agni, if he drinks warm fluid, these people feel nauseated. They don't like hot water. That's their trick. They don't want it. And that's exactly what they need.
Can you just repeat the last part, please?
So I told you that people who have allergies usually have a good appetite.
Okay.
Appetite is not the problem. They can eat a lot of food and digest it, but what the problem is the next step. This fire is weak. Rasa dhatu agni is weak. So if you ask them to eat hot water, they really do not like it. That makes them feel nauseated. And that would be like a litmus test. If you drink hot water and if you feel nauseated, then that must mean your rasa dhatu agni is weak. So you can flavor the water with the teas and allow them to have extra fluid on board. So because that's how your body is going to use that water to fight with that, whatever that allergen is. And that's how you increase your strength. Yes?
If you drink a baseline of, say, 8 glasses of water, when you say extra fluid, how much more are you talking?
Good question. So how much water is reasonably moderate amount for every individual? That's going to change from individual to individual. There is no set rule of 6 glasses, 8 glasses, 10 glasses. Ask yourself, if you are having allergies, how much water how many of us have allergy? Okay, so ask. Tell me how much water you drink.
As much as I need.
How much is that? Give me a number.
When I'm sick or when I'm normal?
Just on an average.
I drink at least 9 or 10
glasses.
Wow.
Do you feel the thirst?
No.
Do you drink water? Or cold water?
No.
Carbonated water?
Lukewarm.
Lukewarm.
Yes. I don't like cold water.
How about hot water?
I love teas.
You like teas?
I love it.
So you have enough water on board and you still have allergies.
And when I don't drink enough water, that's when the allergy offsets. So what you're saying is
makes
correct.
perfect sense then.
Right. So if I keep over 8 glasses, I have less allergies. But when I underdrink like less than 8, then I start
So
getting
that number is going
Right.
to change from individual to individual.
Right.
For her, she figured it out. So you will have to work on your own number of how many glasses of water you need. Because that thirst signal, not that signal, thirst what do you call it, the sensation, we have kind of learned not to listen or listen too much. So we have to go back and reset that. So if you are still struggling with allergies, in spite of drinking, let's say 8 glasses of water, you probably want to bump it up to a couple of more and see if that makes a difference. That's how I would answer that. So usually, if you look at Vata, Pitta, Kapha constitution, Kapha people usually do not need that much of fluid because they have more fluid to begin with. Vata people will need little extra because they move a lot. Pitta people in summer will need more. So there is no one answer to such question because it depends on the individual. If 8 glasses is good for her, maybe I need 5, maybe I need 6.5. I need to figure that out myself. And I should know it by this time of my age, how much water is good for me. But if I'm struggling by having enough water, just bump it up by a couple of cups and see if that makes a difference. Do only one thing at a time. Just increase your water and see if it has any relationship. The next step, go to the food. So do step by step. So you yourself understand how my body behaves. Does that answer your question? Yes.
I'm living in Houston last 17 years. I never have allergies.
Now you
This
started.
year, first time I'm feeling that I'm having allergy. How come? What change?
So Poland did not change, Houston did not change, what changes you? Because we all are changing, right? 15 minutes earlier when I was standing here, I was a different person. Now I'm a different person. Every moment we are changing. Body is changing too, inside out. There is no one single cell that is same when you were born today. Because we are changing all the time. So this must mean that you come to a point where your Rasadhatu Agni has become weak.
So I have to recognize myself that something changed in my body here.
Yes. And then this is how you do it simply, by having extra warm water on board and eating little bit less every meal. Yes.
What enhances the second Agni?
What enhances second Agni? Fasting. Fasting is #1 treatment, and that's why I eat less food. There are certain herbs that will enhance that Agni, and that's what Pipali, turmeric, ginger. But when it comes to ginger, it's a little more potent, so you have to be careful. I cannot just generalize it and everybody can use ginger. Probably not. And that's why I go with safer herbs. Turmeric is very safe, used in cooking for ages. So is Pipali. Pipali is a herb that is used and very popular for kids, for pediatric population. And that's why this is very safe to use by anybody. The way we use it in increments. It's called Vardhaman Pipali. We slowly increase the dosage and slowly bring it down over a period of time. It's like training your own body. You give more, and then you withdraw. So your body learns to do the same thing without that coverage of people. So fasting is #1, drinking warm teas is, all these things that we're doing is to do the same thing, to increase the second Agni.
Does Vayu have a role to play in this cycle?
Yes. All doshas have a role. Like Pitta has a role, Vata has a role. All the doshas are involved, but where you see manifestation is in a kapha zone. This is a kapha zone, right? Thoracic cavity and above is kapha part of my body. And that's why the treatment part has to be targeted to more kapha than Vata or Pitta. You cannot forget those two. They are playing a role underneath, behind the scene, but this is what is more upfront, forefront.
But you get more hungry when you have allergy.
Yes, because this wine is good. That's why it's tricky. Yes, that's what I said. Because this wine is very good. What we have problem with is the second wine, second step. And that's why it is hard.
When you drink more, maybe it also will satisfy some hunger.
More hot water. That's what I said, you have a cup of tea before your meal. So you're using a little bit of this fire when you have more fluid with the meal. So there is a little bit less, and that much would be probably 80% anyhow. All right. So let's eat 80%.
Take one, take one.
Oops, sorry.
Yeah.